Hello, adventurers, and welcome to the Journals of Thorgrin and Bella. I am your host, the Great Sean, and today I have this is a really quick video today because I'm tired. I want to talk about 6th edition, or 5.5, or the next generation of Dungeons and Dragons, as they're calling it. So, they've announced that in 2024, I think it is, they're going to release new versions of the core rulebooks. The Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. And this will be the next generation of Dungeons and Dragons. What some people have thought this was 6th edition. However, they said it was going to be completely backwards compatible with 5th edition. So that's cool. So, I'm more along the camp of 5.5. Just like 3rd edition came out, it was a little bit buggy, so they released 3.5, and that was perfect. Perfect, kind of. 5th edition is, a lot of people say it's better, so I'm not sure if you can really call it perfect, but it was a good game. It was D&D. It was what you think of when you think of D&D. That was 3.5. So, I have a little prediction about what that's going to be. So I'm not predicting like individual rules and stuff like that. This is what I think it's totally going to be. Because they said it was going to be completely backwards compatible, this isn't going to be like a new thing. This is still going to be 5th edition. Kind of, in the way that 3.5 was still 3rd edition. The thing that I think this is going to be is the reason why 5th edition is so popular is because it's so simple. If I got into D&D when it was 3.5, I probably wouldn't have liked Dungeons and Dragons, just because how complicated it was, and especially not 4th edition. So I jumped on it at the perfect time that it's nice and simple, because like, I'm trying to get out of the habit of calling myself an idiot, because that's bad for my mental health, but I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. See, even just there, I messed up the quote. It's sharpest tool in the shed. Just some proof. So, I need nice and simple rules. Even 5th edition. Like, I got a good grasp of the rules, but not perfect. Especially with certain spells. I'm still scratching my head on certain ones. But yeah, the allure of 5th edition is that it's so simple compared to other editions. On its own, 5th edition is still pretty complicated. Like, it's got a lot of rules. I mean, these books are like 3 of them, and the core rule books, there's 3 of them. There's 3 core rule books, and they're this thick. That's like this much of just the basic rules. Of pages and pages. So, I think this next generation of D&D will be a even more slimmed down 5th edition. So, I think it's actually going to be less of the, like what, with like 5th edition and 3.5. It's going to be more like 1st edition and advanced D&D. It's going to be a little bit like that. You're going to have 5th edition for those who like the more dense rules, but when you're a new player, you're going to get into 5.5 or whatever, advanced 5th edition, I like to call it. And it's going to be super simple. It's going to be completely backwards compatible with D&D. You can take your Xanathar's Guide to Everything. You can take your Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. You can take all that and use those subclasses and stuff on the new versions of the classes, but they're going to be super simple, and the language of it is going to be tweaked so that players who aren't into Dungeons and Dragons can just read a rule and be like, oh, sweet, I know what that is. Like, when I first got into D&D, I was reading, like, the stat blocks on things, And I didn't know how, like, rolling damage for monsters worked. It's just the language on those things were just so weird. And I just thought, does this matter? Does this matter? I don't know what this number is. Most of it didn't matter. They're going to slim all that down, so when you read it, a new player can just see that and see, oh, this is how that works. Like, when you're going to go into the new monster manual and go to the dragon and see its breath weapon, when you see the recharge, where like you roll a dice to see which one it lands on, to see if it recharges its breath weapon, that's going to be way more simple, for example. There's also probably the books are going to be a lot smaller, because the rules are going to be condensed and more easy to understand and less intimidating. That's the thing. Because we like to think 5th edition is this huge thing now. And that's only because it's comparison to older editions. If I just go walk into the middle of the street and ask people, hey, have you ever played Dungeons & Dragons? Most people will say, no, you mean that stupid nerd game? They're still gonna say that. Even with Critical Role and all those amazing things and D&D finally getting the recognition it deserves, it's still niche. We like to pretend it's not. And that it's big now, but it's not. And that's what this new edition is going to tackle. It's going to make it even more new player friendly. It's going to be so simple. And I'm hoping for that. Because that'll bring so many new players into the game. And you might be thinking, why am I thinking that? Why? Money. Money, 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 money. New players means new people buying the books. And just releasing new books for 5th edition sure does good. It does good. All the people that are into the game will be like, oh, what's this? Descent into Avernus? Baldur's Gate? Gimme. I want. But people who've never played D&D look at that and it's just like, why would I buy that? There's no new money flowing in. It's all, like, sure, there's new players entering the game with people like me coming up to my nieces and nephews saying, hey, let me run a game for you. Let me teach you how to play. And they're like, sure, that sounds fun. Are we wearing the elf ears like in the movies? Nope. But these new editions, it's going to be marketed as super simple, super easy, a slimmed down version of D&D, half the rules, twice the fun. That's what it's going to be marketed as. You heard it from me first. Have fun.